I think, you know, you can buy time to Ugin, and you have counterspells to break up the combo, and the rally deck isn't all that fast.
Tickal number 14 on our Season 4 leaderboard. It would be, it's going to be hard for him to qualify for the World Championship.
Yes.
It's going to be very hard. At this point, it might actually just take an invitational win. I don't know if he can do it via points anymore. I'll say this, it's got to start with a win this weekend.
Yes, for sure.
To even get himself back into the conversation.
And he was a player where it looked like it was just going to happen. I mean, between him and Eric Hawkins, they were traveling to a bunch of events and performing well and doing well in IQs and had a lot of points built up. And, you know, towards the back half of 2015, Eric Hawkins was starting to cement his position with very good performances in Open Series events. He has a finals appearance, another top 8 and so forth. And Tickal never really had that signature performance in any of the Open Series events. And he's fallen by the wayside on the leaderboard as a result.
Tickal going to sacrifice that polluted delta to get himself a sunken hollow. There's a wooded foothills, and now here is the Zilliport Cutthroat. An integral piece.
Yes.
To what this deck does do.
Also an important part, I've found this out playing in Target Red, an important part of their beatdown matchup as well. Because a lot of what you're trying to do is just chump trade, kill you with rally when you're on the rally side. And the Cutthroat just generates a lot of life along the way, also gets them in range where your rally is eventually lethal in one shot.
Got it. Well, we're going to head back Nguyen's way. He just has a Sunken Hollow to start. He'll play a Flooded Strand, pass that turn back over to Tickal. Tickal will take a draw step here. In comes the Cutthroat. Wooded Foothills was land number 3. And it looks like Nguyen gonna sacrifice that fetch land. See what land James wants to search up. He'll go with another battle land with Prairie Stream, excuse me. We've seen the Rally deck have some really successful performances over the past couple of weeks here.
Yes.
It's a different build of the deck. You know, you're really just the full 4 colors. Sidisi's Faithful has really found its way into the deck. Same thing can be said for Zilliport Cutthroat. Kind of a combo deck, but also can just kind of play a normal game.
Yeah. I mean, I think ultimately you need to be doing something combo-ish to finish off most of your opponents, but that doesn't necessarily mean rally. I mean, even Grim Horror Specs and a Sack Outlet can kind of proxy a combo feel.
It's a Jace here for Nguyen. Not sure he has a 3rd land, however. Tickal going to sacrifice his Wooded Foothills. We'll see what land he wants to search up. Might be thinking Prairie Stream. It looks like he's going to go with Canopy Vista.
And the mana is a little tricky in this deck because you are basically splashing a double white card. So you do want to go out of your way to find the white dual lands in the deck when it doesn't cost you very much.
In comes the Cutthroat. And now here's another Cutthroat. Pass that turn back over to Nguyen. Nguyen will draw a copy of Haven of the Spirit Dragon. For Esper Dragons, it's an interesting deck to me. It's a deck that I know a lot of people like, but sometimes it is a little, I guess, disjointed. Some of your draws can be very good. Some of your draws can be very awkward.
When you have a dragon in your opening hand, your draw is likely to be clunky. You're also playing, you know, black removal, white removal, and trying to cast Slumgar Scorn. So the mana can be a little finicky out of the gates.
Nguyen will discard a Dragonlord Ojutai. Gonna untap with Jace. Time to draw now. 3 cards in the graveyard. Looks like Painful Truth may have been the draw step. Also has a copy of Duress in hand. Perhaps James will lead off with a discard spell, and he will. Tickal may have a response here, as he does have a copy of Collected Company in hand.
Well, Nguyen's also got Dispel in hand, so if he thinks that Collected Company is likely to be Tickal's turn, this is a great setup. As he gets to swallow ball the turn, on curve with a Dispel, gets to loot and look for a land drop, gets to get another spell out of the hand.
Well, quite a few Collected Companies over there, along with a copy of Bring to Light. 3 Collected Companies, 1 Bring. We'll see what Nguyen wants to select here. Looks like Collected Company down. Nguyen will activate Chase. Time to draw and discard potentially, not just yet. Says, all right, feel free. Prairie Stream.
Good that Nguyen was able to find lane number 4 here. Unfortunately, because of the fetching early on in the game, making sure his colors of mana were fixed, he's going to be playing off curve with these battle lands for quite a while.
The discard will be Painful Truths. Jace is flipping. It's moving up. Nguyen going to play a Prairie Stream, and now pass the turn back. Tickal, predictably going to sacrifice a fetch line here and go for a Collected Company.
Yep. And Nguyen's opening here a little on the clunky side, but he's powering through it now.
Yep. There's Dispel. And now Tickal left with Bring to Light, which he's short of mana, and another copy of Collected Company. Now, of course, Collected Company can yield pretty much anything here. And a Windswept Heath was the draw step. So curious to see which route Tickal wants to go here. Just one copy of Bring to Light in the deck this weekend. Tickal going to search up a basic Plains.
So now he's got his mana situated here. All of his colors plus double white.
Yep. No red in the deck, of course. Now here's Bring to Light. So what's the weapon of choice here for Matthew? That's the big question. He's digging for something.
Yeah, I'm also curious. It doesn't seem... Okay, just going to get a Collected
All
Company.
right, fair enough.
Just being mana efficient this turn.
Yep. You can search for a creature, instant, or sorcery. So.
Yep. It's curious. It didn't seem like there was any great creature to go for this spot, except maybe Grim Horror specs, and that seems a little mopey to me. But yeah, if he just wants to get another Collected Company, be mana efficient, totally reasonable line of play.
Now, as we know, Collected Company on the SCG live camera a little shy.
It's been bad more than good.
We'll see how it feels right now. Sidisi's Faithful, Zilliport Cutthroat.
I mean, it's stuff at least, but...
It did hit 2 cards.
Yep. Better
No
than we
argument.
typically see.
Yeah, we can't say it didn't do that. Gonna exploit here, will Tickal, sacrificing his Zilliport Cutthroat, and gonna bounce his own Sidisi's Faithful, maybe to kind of repeat the show here.
Yep. And also protect himself a little bit from Languish or Crux or some other sweeper.
Flooded Strand, the draw here for Nguyen. Jace is gonna go down. I think we might see him flashback Duress.
Yep. I like just getting the last source of card advantage out of the hand. I think Nguyen does have Languish in hand, so he's just got to set up for next turn.
Also has a copy of Silk Wrap in hand.
Yeah, you can even Silk Wrap, and I'm sure has enough cards left over in hand to dig through time, not even have to touch the Languish here. Really pulling away with this game.
Yeah, doing a nice job. Tickal out of Collected Companies now, too. Gonna attack Jace down to 1. Matthew just passed the turn back. His draw for the turn was a Murderous Cut, not what the doctor ordered. Yep. Nguyen will sacrifice that Flooded Strand. Fall a little lower down to 12. We got a land on the way. I assume a basic. Yeah, basic island, so we can see a dig here.
I thought there was a chance that he might go for the double black here, but there's just such a good chance at some point he finds a swamp or a polluted delta or something that it's just better to be mana efficient right now and get the dig.
Yeah, perhaps he just digs into it. Yep. Nguyen gonna take a look at the top 7. Take 2 with him. I've got to say that all 3 rounds here.
So this is a pretty tired and true strategy here. When your opponent's deck is a bunch of low power nonsense cards and a couple payoffs, if you can keep them off the payoffs, their deck is often not going to be powerful enough to win many games. And Nguyen's done a very good job of doing that. He's been able to fight the good fight over Collected Company, and the rest of what Tickal's drawn this game just doesn't really matter all that much.
Nguyen has found 2 cards he's happy with. And Jay's starting to try to pull away with some things here. But of course, you know, what's difficult now is that Tickal's playing against his opponent that has a bunch of untapped mana playing an Esper deck.
Yeah. And Tickal just doesn't have a lot of draws that matter at this point.
It's Dragonlord Ochitai now. And that's the big plan with this deck. Get that thing out there and start to run away with it.
You can see Tickal's got Rally in his hand. There's not even anything for him to do with a Rally.
Yeah. Here's a Catacomb Sifter. We'll see how much Nguyen cares about that one. Unclear if he's got a, actually it is clear he's got a Slumgar score in hand. Looks like 2. And we might get to the stage of the game now, because there are 2 basics, where Nguyen can happily search up that other black source of mana, and now he can aggressively counter some spells.
Yes. And even though Catacomb Citrus isn't that threatening, it's 2 things in play, so it's good for threatening Jace. And the scrying does matter. You know, at this point in the game, Tickal's drawing to a couple cards that could matter, and a lot of his deck is just nonsense. So keep him from looking at a lot of cards.
Jace is going to tick up. Here comes Regular Ochitai. It's a murderous cut here from Tickal, and James says absolutely not. Going to Slumgar score in that as well. And we have seen this with Esper Dragons over the course of 2015. One Ochitai hit turns into multiple Ochitai hits, turns into a game being over.
Yep. Because every, you know, Dragon Lord Ochitai hit, it's going to yield a land, a removal spell, another counter spell, so you can be very aggressive trading 1 for 1, pushing through the Dragon Lord Ochitai. Also, Nguyen does not want this game to go on for a million turns. The rally deck can kill you in a bunch of backdoor ways, so it's better to end the game sooner rather than later.
Nguyen has found the card that he's happy with. Now we're going to see Ob Nixilis reignited. That'll resolve. Nguyen will draw a card at the cost of a life. Shambling Vent. Well, here's the thing. Shields are completely down. The question is, can Tickal take advantage of it?
Well, a rally for 3, he has no sack outlet, and it doesn't really get him all that far.
Sidethi's Faithful. It'll exploit itself. Take care of the Dragon Lord Ochitai. Tickal with a land. Last card in hand is the rally.
If there was a Nantuko Husk floating around out there, it's a little bit different, but at that point, I don't think Nguyen's tapping out.
Yeah.
Tickal's graveyard doesn't threaten lethal, and Rally the Ancestors costs all of his mana. So as long as the graveyard doesn't threaten to kill, Nguyen can be pretty aggressive tapping out for the time being.
And if you're Nguyen right now, you feel like you're in a good spot. 2 active Planeswalkers, pretty good hand. Your opponent's down to 1 card in hand, though you don't know what that card is. But you could probably guess it's Rally at this point. Maybe another removal spell. And now you just have to kind of make sure everything goes okay from here.
Yeah.
Because you got to like your positioning.
Though Nguyen has used a lot of his counter spells trying to punch through with Dragon Lord Ochitai.
Up to 5 goes the Jace. And now here's a Silk Wrap. That'll take care of that Cutthroat. Ob Nixilis will go up. Nguyen will pay a life to draw a card. Sunken Hollow is the land, and we'll see if he's comfortable with maybe tapping 5 mana for Dragon Lord Ochitai. The answer is a resounding yes.
Well, the rally, the Ancestors is even less of a concern now because Tickal is down his Cutthroat. So if it was safe last turn to tap low, it's got to be safe this turn as well.
Well, you would think that'd be the case. We'll see. Tickal's going to sacrifice some Windswept Teeth. We'll see what land he wants to search up. He's going to go with a Prairie Stream. Can rally for 3 here on the end step. There's a Catacomb Sifter down there, a Zilliport Cutthroat, and a Sidethi's Faithful.
A rally for 3 here still strikes me as a dead end. Because everything gets exiled and not a lot of gain gets made. So I think Tickal's still just got to hold tight and hope this situation improves.
He's taking a draw step. Well, his situation may have just improved.
Nantuko Husk definitely qualifies.
Yeah. Now Nguyen will have to untap. He'll get the draw. Here comes Dragon Lord Ochitai. He'll get to take a look at the top couple of cards here. Dig through time among them. That's his selection. The rest will go to the bottom. Feels like to me, Nguyen needs one more counterspell to maybe wrap this up. He's going to go with Ob Nixilis. Kill that Nantuko Husk, tick up the Jace, and now just pass the turn back. Tickal will draw. Here's Rally.
Played with a lot of confidence there.
Yeah.
I mean, the issue is that Tickal probably feels like this is unlikely to resolve, and it's not even a win if it does resolve.
Yeah, it's not that good. It's merely okay. Nguyen will take a look at the top 7 here with Dig Through Time. If he finds a Slumgar score, negate, something like that, this one's probably over. He found at least a negate. Foul-tongue invocation looks like it's going to the bottom of the deck. Negate is going to take care of that, and we're all set here. James Nguyen going to win game number 1 here over Matthew Tickal. Esper Dragons up a game here over a 4-color rally.
And that was the recipe there. Just pick apart the relevant pieces, fight over a collected company, fight over rally, and force Tickal to try to win the game with 1-1s for 2 and 2-2s for 3 and so forth.
We're taking a look at the sideboards now. We'll start with Tickal in his 4-color rally deck. 2 copies of Felidar Cub, a 3 Duress, a Dispel, 3 Offense of the Foremost, a Merciless Executioner, a Fleshbag Marauder, 3 Deafness Raptor, and a Singleton Minister of Pain.
The sideboard seems really good here. The Duresses and the Spells, that's straightforward. I think those can come in. You can even bring in the Merciless Executioner and Fleshbag Marauder to be able to answer Dragonlord Ojutai, but I'm really interested in Deathmist Raptor in this matchup. I think that Tickal's got to wear Nguyen down a little bit in a natural way to be able to set up kills with Rally of the Ancestors. And Deathmist Raptor is just a challenging threat to answer. I think that could help him a lot in this matchup.
For James Nguyen, it's to transgress the mind, a self-inflicted wound, 2 copies of Infinite Obliteration, a Disdainful Stroke and Negate, a Virulent Plague, a Foul-Tongue Invocation, a Dispel, 2 Tasker of the Golden Fang, maybe get a little more aggressive, a Surge of Righteousness, and then 3 copies of Ration Cleric.
I like Tassiger because it's something cheap to get on the table to block. Once the game's stabilized, then it's just battling over the card advantage sources. So I think Tassiger would be good here. I like the Dispel. Counters a lot of the key cards. Transgress the Mind seems great. Good against Collected Company. Also can pick out a couple of the critical 3-mana creatures like Nantuko Husk, like Grim Horror Specs, also Exiles, which is a bonus. I don't know if he's going to bring in the Infinite Obliteration. You can pick apart pieces of the combo that way. Feels a little narrow to me, but Infinite Obliteration may come in.
Well, those are the options there for both players. And I did just see Todd Anderson walking by with a thumbs up, so it looks like he got a win.
Good start.
And every win for Todd and Tom and everybody else here looking for Open Series points. Very important. So Anderson looks to move on to 3-0. And we'll see if Tickal can bounce back here against James Nguyen. Very tough opponent to get paired against here in round number 3 for Tickal as he's going to finish sideboarding up. We'll talk about our YouTube page here now with Star City Games, where you can go back and watch replays of this tournament and a whole bunch more.
A lot of content up on the page. You can go to youtube.com/StarCityGames to check it out. There's a lot of archives there, including Versus Series content, premium archives, Open Series archives, and some content that's exclusive to the YouTube page, like unboxing. Again, head over to youtube.com/StarCityGames. Become a subscriber today and get notified when new content is uploaded to the page.
It's James Nguyen, it's Matthew Tickal in round number 3, and Tickal is a player who's started to make a name for himself here on the Open Series with a couple Open Series top 8s. And really, when you think of Rally of the Ancestors, it's really hard not to think about him.
Yes, he had it basically week 1 with Magic Origins. Had some very impressive performances on camera with the deck, displayed a lot of its power level, fell a little bit short. I don't think the build was perfectly tuned by any stretch of the imagination, but a pretty influential tournament for that deck.
A full-time cabinet finisher, started playing Magic by stealing Ice Age tournament packs from his father's company. Well, that is just, do you think his dad knows that?
Well, he's a dependent, so the lines of stealing are a little blurry, and it ended up okay, right? He's here playing Magic, obviously loves the game. I'm sure his dad is happy with the cost that got paid.
And we'll sing along with Disney songs out loud, regardless of social situation, which I can truly appreciate.
And it's apparently something that he shares with Eric Hawkins, right?
Yes, they're both
That's a thing
big
they do?
Disney song fans, so
Okay.
nothing will stop them from singing I'll Make a Man Out of You from the movie Mulan. One of my personal favorites.
Okay.
A great tune. Do you have a favorite Disney song?
Yeah.
Your answer cannot be no.
Under the Sea.
Okay. A very good selection. Under the Sea versus Hakuna Matata. Who wins?
Under the Sea.
There's no way that's right. Hakuna Matata is a perfect song.
Under the Sea is a masterpiece.
I'm not saying it's bad. It's a great song. Great song. Be prepared. A lot of my favorites from The Lion King. I was a big Lion King fan.
Yeah,
back
I was a little old for The Lion King by the time it came out. I kind of missed that one generation-wise, whereas The Little Mermaid was right in my wheelhouse.
Yeah, I had a pet Simba. I had a bunch of pens, paper. I had the full Lion King shebang.
I think when Lion King came out, I was at the age where it wasn't cool to like Disney movies. I was like 14 or 15 years old or something, where it wasn't, if memory serves.
That sounds horrible.
So all I'm saying is The Lion King was not a big part of my childhood or adolescence or anything.
Lion King's always cool, man.
But Under the Sea, I'll jam out to Under the Sea.
We are underway here in game number 2. Tickal going to search up a Smoldering Marsh very quickly. with the wooded foothills.
Appreciate not wasting time.
Yep.
Oh, am I going to sit here and wait until I know what land you play? No, I'm just getting my land.
I know what I want.
Let's move on with life, please.
Also, this matchup can take a while.
Yep.
We almost saw a draw in the last round. The standard format's not particularly quick, as here's a duress from Nguyen. Deathmist Raptor Collected Company, Rally the Ancestors, a Grim Horror Specs, a Liliana, and then a Flooded Strand is land number 3.
How many copies of Canopy Vista in Tickal's list?
Take a little look-skipoo. Just one.
So this is kind of awkward mana-wise because he can't cast the Deathmist Raptor off of the Flooded Strand.
He can play a Morph.
Oh, could be anything.
It could even be that Deathmist Raptor.
Or Grim Horror Specs.
Yeah. Playing a bit of a guessing game now, aren't we? What land is Tickal going to search up, I suppose, is the question. Doesn't have blue mana just yet. There it is. Nguyen going to play a Polluted Delta, pass the turn back. I've just been told that Hakuna Matata is unplayable by Anthony Lowry.
I'm not a big fan of the song. Doesn't really do it for me.
Here's Nantuko Husk. I'm going to have to get the block function out on Twitter. I don't know if it's one you use very often.
I have one person blocked.
Nice.
You know who you are.
Sunken Hollow is land number 4 here for James. A windswept heath here for Tickal. Putting on a relevant amount of pressure right now, which is where you want to be on, I think, Tickal's side of the matchup.
Right, I think post-board he's got a reasonable plan here of attack, just force Nguyen to use removal spells and that sort of thing, and kind of, beat down the wall a little bit and try to punch through Collected Company and Rally the Ancestors. And that plan's a lot easier to execute when he can just put stuff on the table that can attack for a relevant amount, which is why I think Deathmist Raptor is really important to his post-board strategy.
It's a basic plains and another morph here for Tickal. See if James has some sort of response. Not just yet, as he'll untap and take a draw step here. He's found a basic island. He'll sacrifice this Polluted Delta. Fall a little bit lower, down to 13, I believe. And then we'll see what land he wants to go get. Looks like he'll go with a basic island. Here's another island, and it'll be a Dragonlord Ochitai. Okay. Yep. Gonna unmorph Grim Horror Specs. Oh, I see what's happening here. That's just adorable.
Yeah.
Sacrifice the Deathmist Raptor, unmorph Grim Horror Specs, get back to Deathmist Raptor. See that?
Yes.
That just brings it face up.
And now you have Grim Horror Specs in play.
Yeah.
Some creatures, sacrifice, draw some cards. Who knows?
It took me a moment. Some shuffling of the deck needs to be done here. And Nguyen gonna hope that his Dragonlord Ochitai can stand firm here. Land number 5 is a windswept heath here for Tickal. Looks like Husk and Deathmist Raptor are going to come in. Appears as though Horror Spec's going to hang out on D.
Yeah, Horror Specs just gets blocked by Dragonlord Ochitai. There's no good blocks here. Deathmist Raptor has Death Touch, and the Husk can become a 4/4 in trade, or a 6/6 even, and just eat.
There's the basic forest.
But this game's going a lot better for Tickal.
Yeah, this looks way better than the first game.
He's actually forcing Nguyen to expend a relevant set of resources here, answering the board.
Might be a main phase Collected Company now. It appears that it will be. He's going to leave a basic island up, it appears. Unsure what land he wants to leave up.
I think he's got Duress in his sideboard, and he's got 3 of those versus 1 Dispel, I think. So I'd rather be able to hit the Duress as Tickal's going to be drawing some cards via Grim Horror Specs here.
Yep, Company not resolving. Horror Specs and Jace are the finds there from Company. Now, right now, that Husk, I believe, is a 4/4.
Right, and Tickal can, if he wants to, sacrifice the Jace, draw 2 cards. Then he keeps his Husk, draws 2. Dragon Lord Ojutai is still dead.
And that's a pretty good turn. So Ojutai down. We're going to head back Nguyen's way after what was at least in my opinion, a very successful turn there for Tickal.
That was great. Drew a ton of cards, got Dragon Lord Ojutai off the table, has a lot of pressure in play, and can draw a lot of cards still.
When taking a look at the board, going to play a Prairie Stream and just pass the turn back over to Tickal. Tickal going to untap and draw. There's a Flooded Strand. There goes Flooded Strand, and now here's Liliana. Here come the beatdowns.
Liliana just out there as protection against a potential sweeper.
Yep, pretty straightforward stuff there. Just building up a nice board. And you can see how crucial Husk and Horror Specs are in this particular matchup.
Yeah, Tickal had a lot of resources to work with. He got to pressure win the whole game. Never even had to touch his Rally Ancestors. That was just a backup plan in case the game went on for a really long time. But he was able to win the game just with creatures that generated card advantage and Collecting Company.
And really, that's kind of a display of both decks, right? You know, in that first game, we saw the power of Dragon Lord Ojutai in combination with Salumgar, Scorn, Jace kind of doing its thing, Obnixilis as well. On the other side, you saw Tickal, even though he didn't cast Rally the Ancestors, be able to do what this deck can do. Is it's kind of a combo deck, it's kind of an aggressive deck, somewhere in between at times, but it doesn't need Rally to win.
Yeah, and I would imagine that a lot of Tickal's, anti-beatdown cards, the cards like Sidisi's Faithful and the Cutthroat, those have probably been boarded out. So the cards he's putting on the table now are much more individually impactful. Win does need to answer these threats as they show up. Even Grim Horror Specs, Death Disruptor, those are relevant clocks. And again, once Tickal's pushing on him the whole game to just respond to the board, the card advantage, the Collected Companies, and the Rally the Ancestors, those can produce the kill.
Players going to shuffle up here for game number 3. James Nguyen will be on the play, but we are going to talk about regionals for next year, where we've got an awesome new playmat and some brand new information here. Now, you guys know the deal with regionals by now. You come, you get an awesome playmat, you get some awesome stuff, you get to play some competitive Magic on Pro Tour weekends, but the playmat is typically limited to the first 200 players that come.
Yeah, this is our Ascent of Aya playmat. It was illustrated by Kristen Pluskow, who does a lot of the art for Star City games, including the invitational tokens. The first 200 people to register for their regional championships will get this, plus a foil token.
Now, the token, meant to be used with a Johnny Goldmane. It's a star token. So a Johnny Goldmane's ultimate, for those of you who don't remember, this creature's power and toughness are equal to your life total. So that's what that token can be used for. And because of the changes to the Open Series and SCG Tour, regional is actually very important for qualifying for the Players' Championship. So what we actually have now is, of course, there's going to be some cash involved with this, but it's one of the few tournaments where you can actually get SCG points, and it will also qualify you for an Invitational. So Invitational is hard to qualify for, Players' Championship hard to qualify for, so it's pretty important that you do well at this tournament.
Yeah, the IQs are not going to be a source of points anymore going into 2016. So these large tournaments are really important alongside the Opens for players who are trying to qualify for the Players' Championship.
February 6, 2016. Plant your flag and find out more information. Go.starcitygames.com/regionals. As here is a duress from James. You'll see that opening hand with a Catacomb Sifter, a Jace, a Zilliport Cutthroat, a couple of lands over there on Tickal's side, and Collected Company will bite the dust. Back over to Nguyen. He'll play an island and pass the turn back over to Tickal. We'll see how Tickal's mana base does, if that cooperates with him. It's an island. And now it's a Jace. and anticipate here from James. Tickal expecting Jace to die or get countered or something.
Yep.
Not just yet.
Really good news for him, though, if the Jace survives. Obviously, fixing out his draw in a deck that can get some pretty wonky draw steps is excellent. Also, he's got a Collected Company already in the graveyard to flash back. Yep. So this Jace sticks. It's a pretty big game here for Tickal.
There's a Flooded Strand. Nguyen going to fall down to 18. We'll see if he does have an answer to this Jace. Maybe something like a Foul Tongue Invocation, perhaps. Which is a card that's certainly not at its best in this matchup.
Yeah, there's a lot of crappy creatures and tokens laying around. Not a matchup where I would want to have it.
Going to get himself a Prairie Stream will win. And now here he is, Tasigur. So going to get some pressure on the battlefield. I think you like this one coming in from James's side.
I do. I like pressuring Tickal when he's trying to set up shop. I also like having a nice blocker in play in the spots where Tickal's got some 1/1s and 2/2s in play. You can hang back on Tasigur, activate, generate a lot of cards that way.
Wooded Foothills. The draw. Jace going to go active. Den Protector the draw. For Tickal now, it's about setting up shop.
Yes.
He's underneath a little bit of pressure. Catacomb Sifter going to do a nice job of blocking to buy him some time. Zillipore Cutthroat's going to go to the graveyard from Jace. Perhaps it's about setting up a large rally. We'll see which way Matthew does want to go. He's going to sacrifice his Wooded Foothills to play the Catacomb Sifter, so I imagine Basic Forest on the way, and there is the Basic Forest. And now we head back James Nguyen's way. He'll draw a card to Basic Island. That'll be the land for the turn very quickly. Is Tasigur ready to come in? There's the Eldrazi Scion token from the Catacomb Sifter there for Tickal.
Next turn, Nguyen can follow up with Dragon Lord Ojutai. With that being the case, I like attacking. With Jace and Collected Company and the quality of hand that Tickal showed, I don't think Nguyen's going to be able to hold on to this game forever. I think he's got to try to shorten it up a little bit.
Well, there is the attack, and Tickal with no blocks, so he'll fall a little bit lower, will Matthew. Land number 4 for Tickal is a fetch land. That could be the 4th card in the graveyard here. So he'll sacrifice that. And Battle Land is certainly an option right now, as it'll enter the battlefield untapped.
Canopy Vista seems likely to me. Start getting some of the white mana online. Okay, just go with the plains.
Basic plains here. Maybe a little surprising to see a Battle Land there.
It's possible there's some other fetch land in his hand that can get the Canopy Vista, but not a plains.
Does have a copy of Windswept Heath in hand.
He's got a Wooded Foothills, which
there's also there.
Yeah.
Fetching with this deck is pretty tough. There's a Morph. And it'll be Salumgar's Scorn revealing Dragon Lord Ojutai to take care of the Morph.
And I think the reason for this is Nguyen just knows he's tapping out next turn. Any of the morphs are good enough to counter.
So got to do something this turn.
Right.
Nguyen will draw, picked up a copy of Duress. You see Jace at the ready to block. And we can see the Jace block, activate, and then transform.
Yep. And that might be enough for Nguyen to hold back on defense this turn.
Attacking doesn't appear to get him very far.
It forces the issue, but Tickal's likely to do it anyway. By hanging back with the Tasigur on D, you're also checking the Eldrazi Scion and the Catacomb Sifter from attacking, so.
There's land number 5. It's a basic island. And there's a Dragon Lord Ojutai number 1. No activation of Jace here from Tickal.
Well, he can do it on his own turn after he draws.
Sure.
Any activation causes it to flip, so.
This is true.
He can just wait. And he still wants, I think, the option. It looks like he's just going to flip right now, but possible he wanted the option to just hang back with Jace on D to threaten a chump block on Tasigur.
Tickal going to discard a copy of Windswept Heath. It's a flipping Planeswalker now. It's a 2. I think a Collected Company might be on the way.
Yep.
James Nguyen tapped out, so now's as good a time as any. Smoldering Marsh.
Has Liliana in hand, so needs to get to double black.
And now here's Collected Company. Top 6. We'll see if he can find 2. Death Mist Raptor among those cards with Den Protector in there as well. Unclear if there's a Horospex or not. Is Tickal going to take a look at his cards? There's also a Fleshbag Marauder there. So a lot to like right now for Tickal. Collected Company is all done resolving. Fleshbag Marauder and Grim Horospex look to be the weapons of choice.
Great pairing here. Get one of the large creatures off the table. I would imagine Tassiger will be sacrificed here.
I have a feeling you're correct.
Get to draw a card for your trouble.
And it looks like Tickal is going to sacrifice the Eldrazi Scion to the Fleshbag Marauder. Looks like he's opting for actually just actual Fleshbag Marauder. So Horospex will draw a card. Picked up a copy of Windswept Heath. And now there's a Duress. Take a look at what Wynn's working with. It's a Duress and a Dig Through Time here for James. Dig will bite the dust. But now, if you're James Nguyen, you need some help here from this Dragonlord Ojutai.
Yeah, it's getting a little rough here. Tickal also gets a lot of control over the damage race next turn, assuming that Nguyen hits him because he can plus the Jace. That shortens the clock a little bit. And Tickal's got a lot of cards to work with, way more than Nguyen.
Nguyen's going to lead with Duress, it appears. And he will. Get an idea of what Tickal's working with. Collected Company down. Liliana and Windswept Heath in the hand. Will Ojutai come in? If so, where will it go?
I think Nguyen is likely to go after Tickal here. His hand needs a little bit of help, and he can still kill the Jace next turn if he should feel like that's what he needs to do.
One could argue there's a bit of damage racing to be done here as well.
Yes. I would rather hit Tickal for 5 and then kill the Jace when it's shrunk the Ojutai down to 3.
Silk Wrap, Negate, and Flooded Strand.
Sort of what I alluded to, you know. I think Nguyen's plan has got to be shorten the length of the game.
Curious what he wants to wrap up here.
My guess would be Horospex. Just makes so many draw steps really dangerous.
Yeah, I think that's interesting, right? Well, I mean, we'll see. Here comes the attack for 3. And now we're going to get Liliana. Now, I believe, yeah, Liliana's non-token creature, so no flip here.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty big deal. Because if it were to flip, then it could bring back Fleshbag Marauder. Fleshbag Marauder takes care of the Dragonlord Ojutai. But that's not the case right now. So Dragonlord Ojutai is going to be shrunk a little bit by Jace, and Nguyen will draw.
And I think Tickal's at risk of getting emptied out here. I mean, Dragonlord Ojutai can take care of the Jace. He's got an ultimate price, I believe, to take care of Liliana.
And then it's kind of, how well do you scry with Catacomb Sifter, exactly. I suppose.
Yeah.
Tickal sacrifices fetch land. It's going to fall down to 7. 7 to 12 right now in favor of James Nguyen. Game's going back and forth, though. Prairie Stream, the weapon of choice.
Well, Tickle's definitely got some huge draws,
oh, yeah.
Of course. But I like the line of play that Nguyen's taken here of just try to end the game as fast as possible because it's very hard for him to hold on the whole time.
Tickal going to attack with both of these creatures. And Tickal's draw step for the turn was a copy of Collected Company. That's a big one. There's an ultimate price to go after Liliana. I think we'll see Collected Company in response here. There is Collected Company. Take a look at the top 6. See if he can find 2 to put on the battlefield. I would say.
Oh, wow.
I would say he did just that.
It's a big hit.
Merciless Executioner and Feldar Cub with Executioner on the stack. Sack the Cub, kill a Silk Wrap, which is going to flip the Liliana. That'll bring a zombie token along with it. And now, Horospex is back.
Yeah, I mean, Nguyen's losing everything this turn, and Tickal is flipping a Planeswalker and drawing some cards for his trouble.
Yeah. Executioner down from its trigger. Tickal will get the scry. Top card go to the bottom. Now he'll get to draw a card from the horror specs. This is a heck of a turn here for Matthew. Now there's a polluted delta. Does he have something else to play too?
I think the last card left in his hand is Death Misraptor, so probably just see that face down.
Yep, there's a morph. And he hasn't even used Liliana yet. So plus that. And now I am not sure what James's best draw is, if one even exists. Dragon Lord tries the draw, but Tickal's got that covered in multiple ways, with Fleshback Marauder and Merciless Executioner in the graveyard.
Yep.
So Tickal will draw.
In fact, I think this is just lethal. Assuming that he just Liliana's gets back the Marauder.
He'll get the scry and draw a card, of course. I got 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't know if he gets to 10 just yet.
Well, he can unmorph the Death Misraptor, assuming that was the last card.
If he unmorphs 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I think that would be enough.
Yeah,
if that is the last card.
But everything in his deck unmorphs into a 3. Everything in his deck unmorphs into a 3-power creature. He's going
to cast Bring the Light now. Who knows? Okay, there's a Cutthroat.
Yeah.
Pass the turn back, and now there is no way out.
Yeah.
Nguyen is drawing dead. There's Slumguard scoring. That's going to do it. Matthew Tickal is going to win this match here over James Nguyen, 2-1. 4-color rally will take care of Esper Dragons. And for Tickal, who's going to need probably a second place, but likely a first place finish here this weekend to be able to keep his name in the race, it's a big start to the day.
Challenging matchup against a very skilled opponent. I think you saw post-board that Tickal got a lot better at applying pressure just with the creatures that he had in his deck, and also became a lot better at getting Dragonlord Ojutai off the table.